Welcome back to Stories with Don. We are reading Robin Hood and we are on chapter 5 today. And this chapter is entitled How Robin Hood Dealt with Sir Richard of the Lea. A few weeks after Friar Tuck joined the gay band of outlaws, Robin Hood, wrapped in deep thought, was leaning against a tree one hot noontide. Presently Little John came by. "Master," said the great fellow, "it seems to me you would be better making a good dinner than a standing here alone. And a dinner is making ready to which a king might be proud to sit down. One man has brought in venison and another birds, until we enjoy such plenty that a man may have what that he wishes." "True, Little John," said the outlaw, "but for all that I have no mind to sit down to a dinner alone. I wish you could see some baron or bishop or Norman knight, then he should dine with me and afterward pay the reckoning." "That he should, master," laughed the giant, "and however heavy his purse might be when he came, it should be no load in his pocket when he went away." "Take thy good bow in thy hand," said Robin, "and let Much and Will Scarlet wend with thee, and walk up to Watling Street, and see whom you may meet." So away went the three outlaws to keep watch on the great high road. First they saw a rich lady, riding a beautiful palfrey and attended by several servants, pass by. They knew her for the wife of a Norman baron, but the outlaws made no attempt to detain her, for every woman was safe from harm at their hands. Next passed some peasants who were returning from a fair where they had sold their cows. Little John and his companions were hidden among a thicket of hazels, and heard the men talk of the silver pennies in their pouches. But they only smiled at each other on hearing the simple husbandmen chatter together and let them pass. Robin Hood never laid a finger on a poor man's store. Then Little John raised his bow and pointed through the bushes. Much and Will looked and saw a knight riding slowly towards them. At first glance he did not seem worth stopping. His dress was in disorder, his armor was rusty, he had a most forlorn and hopeless air about him. One foot was in the stirrup, the other hung limp and swayed as his palfrey ambled on. But Little John remembered his orders. Here was a knight, and that knight must dine with Robin Hood this day. So he stepped forward and bent on one knee, and with all courtesy begged the knight to stay. "Sir Knight," said Little John, "I pray you come to the greenwood. There you will be heartily welcome. My master has been waiting dinner for you these 3 hours." "And who is thy master?" said the sorrowful knight. "His name is Robin Hood," said Little John. "I had intended to dine at Blythe or Doncaster," replied the knight, "but I don't care where I eat. Lead on, good fellow, I will come with thee to that good yeoman. I have heard he is a friend to the poor and needy." When Robin Hood saw his men and the knight coming through the trees, he went to them, welcomed the knight to the forest in the most courteous fashion, and invited him to be the chief guest at the noble dinner now ready. The knight thanked him, and both of them washed their hands and sat down to the feast. There were steaks and collops of rich venison, roasted swans and pheasants, game pies and pasties made of many small birds, huge flagons of ale, beakers of wine, and flat round cakes of excellent wheaten bread. The sorrowful knight was very hungry, and ate heartily of this good cheer, and when he had dispatched his meal, he looked a little more cheerful than he had done. "Gramercy, good Robin Hood," said he, "I have not eaten such a dinner these 3 weeks. If ever you come by my way, I shall hope to give you one as good some day." "Gramercy, good knight," laughed Robin Hood. Your promise were poor payment for my dinner here. Surely you do not expect a mere yeoman to pay for the dinner of a worshipful knight. Wherefore I must ask you to put down your purse ere you wend." "That I would do at once," replied the knight, "but I am ashamed to offer you the very little money I have." "Tell me the truth," said Robin. "How much have you?" "No more than 10 shillings in all the world," replied the knight. "Such money as I have is in the coffer slung at my saddle bow." "Look to it, Little John," said Robin Hood. The big fellow took the coffer from the saddle bow, opened his cloak on the ground, and emptied the coffer onto the cloak. "The knight speaks truth," said Little John when he had counted the money. "Come," said Robin Hood kindly to the sorrowful knight, "tell us how you prove to be in such low estate. Your clothes are very thin, your purse is all but empty, and you are very sad. Come, tell us your troubles. Have you been careless of your own interests, or have you spent your money in riot and waste?" The knight shook his head and sighed. "I will tell you all, and you shall judge, Robin Hood," said he. "I am in distress this day for a matter of 400 pounds. And yet 2 or 3 years ago such a sum would have been nothing to me. Now I have naught but my wife and children, and that poor 10 shillings there." "How lost you your money?" said Robin. "It was through my son," replied the knight, and sighed again. "A gallant lad of 20, of high spirit, and greatly skilled in the play of sword and spear. At a tournament where he was jousting, he overthrew a knight of Lancashire, who felt deep anger at his defeat. As my son was coming home, the knight and his squire attacked him in a lonely place, but my son slew them both. Now the knight had powerful friends, and they were furious against my boy. To save him, I have been compelled to spend all my money and to mortgage my land. The abbot of St. Mary's lent me 400 pounds upon my land, and today I should repay the money. But alas, I have it not, and I must lose my home and land and become utterly ruined." And here is a picture of Robin Hood and the knights talking to the knight upon his horse. "And your friends," said Robin, "have they not come forward to your aid?" "Friends," said the knight bitterly. "No man had more friends, as it seemed, than I in the days of my wealth. Now all fly from me, and take no more heed of me than if they had never seen me in their lives before." "'Tis the way of the world, Sir Knight," said Robin Hood, and looked round on his comrades, whose faces were full of sorrow for the poor knight. All of them knew the rich abbot of St. Mary's, and knew well that the land in his clutch was not easily released. Robin beckoned to Little John and whispered in his lieutenant's ear, and Little John went away. In short time the latter came back with a heavy bag, which clinked as he set it down. "There are your 400 pounds, Sir Knight," said Robin Hood. "Never say there is no pity in the world. If you have not found it among your friends and the proud churchman who grasps your land, you have found it among the outlaws of the forest. Count out the money, Little John." The money was counted, and the bag was found to hold exactly the 400 pounds, for want of which the knight was so sad. As for the knight himself, he was utterly dumb with surprise and gratitude. He could only stare at the bag, and then at Robin Hood, and then turn his eyes once more on the money in such wonder that he had no words to express. When at last he found his voice, he poured out 1,000 thanks and blessings on the men who had saved his home and the land on which he supported his family. "His clothes are very thin, master," whispered Little John. "Give him a good suit, I pray thee." So from the well-filled storehouse bales of cloth were rolled out, and Little John measured off a length of cloth, and a right good measure it was, for Little John used his 6-foot bowstay for a yard measure, and so gave double allowance. And they gave the knight a fresh horse and a new saddle and many other things, until he was as gallant and gay as he had been before, shabby and sad. When he was ready to depart, he said to Robin, "I am Sir Richard of the Lea, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this most generous loan. Now tell me, when shall I return it if my affairs should prosper?" "Meet me 12 months from today in this place," replied Robin, "and we will talk of the matter again." So Sir Richard went on his way, the happiest man in England. That ends that chapter, showing what a nice guy Robin Hood could be. Well, I hope you have a great rest of the afternoon and a good weekend. May God take care of you and bless you. Goodbye.